Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to my home. So we're getting back into the whole entire house declutter. I know I took a little detour whenever I did a room makeover on our playroom, and then I wanted to decorate a little bit for the holidays coming up. So if you didn't see those videos, definitely go and check them out. But today we are back to decluttering. So I know I touched on this a bit in the first decluttering video that I did, but I like to declutter around this time of year because we are in for a long winter. We live in central Pennsylvania and there's lots of snow and lots of days spent indoors. So making sure that the house is running smoothly and that things are decluttered and in the places that they should be is a important key to this time of year. So today I wanted to go through my pantry. I know you all have seen me organize this before. All right, so today we're going to be talking about different systems as we go through my kitchen and declutter. Some systems I've come up with work amazing, like this one right here. In fact, mainly what we need to do today with this area is add a few jars in. There's a few ingredients I need to kind of add to this system, and I have space for it, which I'm glad about. This system somewhat works out. I wanted to go through and just check that nothing is bad in there. You can see some crackers are out of place. This area is a system that needs some help. So this is where we kind of throw random things. I don't buy a lot of pre-made snacks. We may have a bag of chips occasionally and things like that. But since I mainly make things here at home, I just have a lot of ingredients, and these hold random ingredients. They work well. Here's some flours that I was using for trying another recipe, and I want to keep them, but they need to be put in a better place. And as you can see, I have these small buckets over here. So there's 4 of those small 2-gallon buckets in the bottom of here with different flours and things like that. And I think I want to extend the pantry, and this is probably going to be dirty down here. I need to clean as I go, but I think I'm going to extend the pantry into this cabinet as well, and maybe make some more buckets over here. So these 2 I'm going to move to a different cabinet. That one I'm actually going to move into my cellar, just because I don't use it quite as often and I don't mind running down there to get it when I need it. So we're going to try to make a little bit better use of space and declutter all at the same time as we work through the kitchen. As I was taking everything out of the pantry, I really realized how much of this stuff, how much of my clutter, my mess that I had in this pantry was because things were not in their right places. Number one, there was a lot of ingredients that needed to go into the jar Lazy Susan system I have in the top part of this pantry, or it was things that needed to go into my cellar and my kind of overflow large pantry area that is in our basement. So I realized that so much of this was really unneeded, and I was going to have so much more space whenever I got done sorting through all of this. I want to say a big thank you to Vessi for sponsoring this week's video. I'm so thrilled to share my new find with you guys. Vessi is the absolutely perfect shoe for this time of year, particularly where I live. It is so wet and cold, and we are going to be getting snow soon. So having a shoe that keeps my foot dry and warm is super important. My list of requirements for this time of year is to have a shoe that keeps my foot dry, and I want it to be stylish and comfortable too, of course. So Vessi has met all of those needs, all wrapped up into one perfect shoe. Vessi's shoes are 100% waterproof. They will keep your feet dry in the wettest of weather. I am so thrilled to ditch my old rain boots and swap up for a much more comfortable and convenient shoe to throw on before I go out the door. So yes, this is my new choice shoe to leave by my front door to run out without even having to think about what I need to put on my feet. Vessi shoes are made from Dymatex, a dual climate knit material that keeps you cool in the summer and warm in cold colder weather. It doesn't feel like it should be waterproof, to be honest with you. Another win over my old rain boots is these are so lightweight and comfortable. They aren't heavy or feel bulky at all. For my subscribers, they are giving away a pair of socks of your choice to the first 100 shoes sold using my code SOCKSADALINE. Check out their early Black Friday sale at Vessi.com. If you missed your chance to get a pair of free socks, Vessi's early Black Friday sale is on now. Get your style and the size you want now before they sell out. I know that you guys will love these shoes just as much as I do. If you all watch my main channel, I share about budget, meal prepping, and things like that. And one of the things that I often do to help save some money is buying spices in bulk. And I do that often at Costco or Sam's Club. And then of course I refill my smaller spice containers in the cupboard. Well, as I've been getting new ones and opening them up and refilling them, they were just getting thrown into some of these bins in the back of my pantry, and I knew I was going to need to do something with them eventually. Mainly just making sure that they stay fresh. Obviously, it takes us some amount of time to work through large containers of parsley and different dried herbs and spices. So I needed a way to kind of take care of those and store them in a airtight manner. So I just went ahead and refilled a few spice jars that needed it, and then you're gonna see me pulling out my brake pump. Yes, I know that sounds a little funny, but my brake pump and the attachment for some mason jars, and I'm going to seal off the remaining seasoning that is left in these large containers. So there's obviously a few components when it comes to storing dry goods long term. One of them is moisture. You don't want moisture to get into your dry goods because then you're gonna have mold. And then another is air or oxygen, and that can just really break down the flavors of your spices over time. So this is a brake pump. Yes, it's something that a mechanic uses, but it works perfectly with these attachments you can get on Amazon for a large mouth and a regular mouth jar. There's two different attachments for different sizes, and all you do is put that on the top. You put the brake pump nozzle into the top hole, and you just pump the brake pump until there isn't any air left inside the jar. And basically what it does is it pulls the air from the edges of the jar's seal until there is no air left to pull out, and then it will seal down against your jar. So I always like to give this little disclaimer that you cannot do this to can items. This isn't like you could dump your peaches into a jar and seal them that way. It does not work that way. However, this does seal off jars of dry goods, and it keeps them as fresh as you can. So in a way, you're kind of resealing it and putting it back into a similar state as it was in the sealed container from the store. So of course this isn't by the book, but it's going to get you closer to that expiration date that was on the original packaging, and you can just keep resealing it every time you pull some spices out. You can reseal it again with the brake pump. So I hope that makes sense. I hope I explained that well, but this is a idea that I found out about a year ago, and I just think that it's so genius. You can also do this with rice, flour, lots of other dry goods, just to keep them fresher. And if you're concerned about moisture, you can also put a moisture absorber inside of the jar along with whatever dry good you're putting in there. So basically, I just needed to get all of this out of the pantry along with a bunch of little plastic containers that had a lot of pickling spices and things I got from a bulk food store that I wouldn't really be using till the next year's pickles batches that I would be making. So I just wanted to make sure that those were preserved in the best way possible so that they're ready to go for next year. Also, a quick little trick with the brake pump in case you have wrists that give out on you like mine do, or hands that don't work as well as they used to. If you put the brake pump against the countertop and press it against the countertop, it kind of gives you a little bit of leverage where you don't have to actually be squeezing that brake pump. Another thing that I did was go through some of my baking ingredients and just get out some things that I either didn't like or were out of date and whatnot. I just decided while I'm decluttering, I might as well be getting rid of stuff that doesn't need to be in here. So as you can see, this nice big trash bag of stuff was everything that I weeded out of the pantry, all of the food that wasn't good anymore. Next, I just finished pulling everything out of the pantry. I moved these buckets because of wanting to put them in the next cupboard, and I just wiped everything out really well. I used a really good apple cider scented multi-purpose spray that I love using that in my kitchen. I just feel like it smells so fresh and crisp and delicious. So these 4 white bins I had in the one shelf in the pantry were not really serving me the best purpose because they were all on the same shelf. So I just decided to put them all in the bottom of the pantry where I'm not really using the full depth of the pantry right now. I'm mainly just using what I can reach in these bins that are towards the front of the shelf. So even though sometimes you have extra room, it doesn't always mean that you need to use it, and just look at the space as what functions best. And I had gotten this maple syrup dispenser. I think I talked about it on my main channel at one point, and it was just empty, so I went ahead and refilled it with some maple syrup I had in the cellar. Alright, so like I mentioned earlier, I had a few things that I needed to add to the turntable system I have in the top part of my pantry, and so I went ahead and just used my jar funnel. I added a few more ingredients, things like powdered sugar, and I've also been cooking with dark cocoa powder lately, and I love that, so I wanted its own jar because I know it's going to be a staple in my pantry. And I often show you a lot of, I would consider them fancy ways to label things, like with my Cricut, or I have other label makers, but I decided to show you a really inexpensive way to label things in this video. So these labels are in a huge pack from Amazon. I will leave them linked below. There's different sizes in the pack. And all I did was write on the label in permanent marker what was in the jar, obviously, and then I laid on top of the label some clear packing tape to kind of seal those letters inside. So if I grabbed the jar with a wet hand, then nothing would smear or dissolve off of the jar, and then I just stuck it onto the jar. I will admit this is not insanely permanent, and it's not going to, you know, be top quality, but it works for an inexpensive way to label things. So I always like to give you guys budget-friendly tips when it comes to organizing, because you can definitely get fancy, it can definitely get pricey pretty quickly, but there's always ways to make something look organized and attractive without spending a bunch of money. Okay, so this little area I showed you earlier, I wanted to pull all of these appliances, I had to think what they're called, appliances out of here, and you'll see me moving them to a different area later. I did put my pressure cooker in my cellar. It's something I use, but I wouldn't say I use it even on a weekly basis, so I felt like it was fine to move downstairs and then I can just grab it whenever I need it. And then these buckets I refill from my large storage in my cellar. All right, since I feel really good about where everything is with the pantry, and I do have an empty shelf down here that I'm going to probably put extra baking dishes that are cluttering another cabinet, which we'll get to, but I wanted to pop in to these. So I wanted to make a note about these. I've had them in here for a couple of months now. You all remember me putting them in. I love this system. Love, love, love. In fact, I just ordered another one for a different drawer. But this drawer and this drawer are pretty well set, other than I did want to declutter them just a bit. I got these for loose leaf tea and I don't like them. They're very big, and most of the time if I'm going to use this type of infuser, I have one that I use here at home, but these are more for on the go. They just don't fit correctly in our to-go cups, so I ordered just this morning a different size, and I'm just going to donate those or get rid of them. So that was something I wanted to pull out of here. Another thing I recently got that I think I shared in a meal prep on my main channel is this garlic mincer. It works so good, you just press it down. So I'm gonna get rid of my old one that's a lot harder to clean. So I'm gonna pass that one on. And other than that, I think everything in here we use very regularly. If you guys watch my main channel, you know that I cook and meal prep and do all of that a lot. So this is one area that is a challenge for me to keep decluttered looking, because I just need a lot of tools to be cooking and doing things like that. So in this drawer, I want to get rid of this little ice cream scoop. It's neat, it makes nice cute little balls, but this ice cream scoop here is the one we actually use. And I think that's everything I wanted to take out of here. I may move some of these things into that empty spot I just cleared up over there. Other than that, I think we use pretty much everything in this drawer as well. I went through the utensils. Also, there was a few that we haven't been using and don't really like. And then I ordered 2 more of something that we do like, just because we needed a few extra. And if you guys want more information on how I buy in bulk, like you saw those buckets and just ways to save when it comes to buying groceries, definitely check out my main channel. I have a lot of content on that, and I have a lot more coming. So this is my home channel. It's where I show a lot of organizing and home-based content, and so I wanted to let you know about my main channel in case you don't know about it or you're not subscribed. So this is a cabinet above my stove, and it's just become a catch-all the last little while. I moved my cookbooks out of there and put them into my office, and I just all of a sudden started shoving things up there. I don't know, I just felt like it was an easy spot. So I wanted to weed through all of this. I had a bunch of cheesecloth and like bread, flour sacks, just things like linen, like kitchen linens that needed to go into a crate. So I went ahead and put that in there and put it into another cupboard. And then this holds all of my molds and things in these baskets. And I do use them a lot just because I make so many things from scratch. Okay, I am really happy with this up here. I'm curious to see how it's going to go. I just feel like it was taking up extra space, and this will be a better fit since this shelf was free. These here just kind of have odds and ends in them. I did take care of a bunch of lids that needed to go downstairs to my canning area. This is just my catch-all for taking care of lids as we open up canned goods up here in the kitchen. This is the girls' little like oatmeal station, which I showed you in another video putting up here, but I'm still happy with it being here. This thing is really handy. If you guys didn't see that, I will try to remember to leave this little organizing unit linked below. It's from Amazon. This is where I keep my mixing bowls. There's actually another bowl that goes there. It's just dirty right now. And then I did manage to grab a couple things. I have two of these. One of them is in this drawer, so I'm actually gonna get rid of this one. And then this was left over from a popsicle making thing that we don't even have anymore. So two more things to add to the declutter pile. This corner cabinet has been, oh my, just the worst. And I think we all struggle when it comes to containers and lids. But I had a lot of containers that I have not been using, and I just needed to downsize. I kind of went container crazy for a while and had a lot of them on hand, and there was just a bunch of them missing lids or things were broken, so I just needed to downsize. So I chose to keep about 8 of each, 6 to 8 of each size of the ones that stack together well. And then I also kept some smaller ones that I use a lot in Corey's lunches. And other than that, that is what I decided to keep. I figured if worst case scenario, I can pick up a few more, but I don't think I'm going to be. I've been really paying attention to how many containers we actually use on a normal basis. My pile of things that I decluttered has gotten pretty big here, as you can see, which makes me happy. And I wanted to kind of figure out how I was going to organize these baking containers a bit better. They've just been tossed here and there through my kitchen. You're gonna see me grab a few more. And some of them I needed to get rid of. Some of them I ordered online and they were the wrong size, and I don't really know why I've been hanging on to them. And the others I just needed to figure out a sensible way to store them. So having this shelf above the buckets here was the best place, and I'll be able to access them quickly. All right, I could not be more thrilled with what I got accomplished today. I feel like everything in this space has been so refreshed. Obviously, there was a little person in here, but I just feel like things are back where they should be. There was so much clutter that just needed to be put away and taken out of these areas. And I just feel like we'll be able to function so much better and cook in here. Corey and I both cook a lot. He cooks about as much as I do. So having a space that's functional and works well for both of us is really important. I'm happy with these dishes being down here. I needed that extra space for those baking dishes. And I even have this shelf up here that's still empty. I don't know what I'm gonna use that for. So stay tuned in the next video. Maybe I'll find a use for that shelf. And then this up here is also a lot more functional. This was the biggest project of today that I was so excited to get accomplished. And over these next couple of weeks, we are going to go through every nook and cranny of my house and just declutter, get rid of stuff that is not serving any good purpose and just bringing me extra stress. So these cabinets and other areas we will dig into. This has a bunch of my herbal herbs in there, and I'm working on organizing that. This is where my cookie sheets are. This here has like my my cooling racks. That's not what and pizza sheets. The cookie sheets are under the oven down here. And this has all of my essential oils in it. And this cabinet up here, I'm waiting until the next day I declutter because it's a big project. It is like all of our vitamins and things like that. And I really need to go through a lot. But this is what I had time to accomplish today. And I am just so happy with knowing that all of those things I've been digging through that I don't need are gone. So if you guys are new here, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment below. Let me know what you're working on decluttering or organizing right now. And I will see you all in my next video.